Welcome to Talanta Talk number 2. I'm happy to welcome you. I'm your host, Nashon Adero. I'm a lecturer at Untitled University and also a youth mentor under the Kenya Presidential Digital Talent Program as a volunteer. And this talk is being brought to you under the banner of Impact Borderless Digital, which is a youth mentorship program. And I'm happy to mention that we aired live the first Talanta Talk on 30th January this year. And I'm grateful to Talanta TV for this partnership. So today we are bringing you the second Talanta Talk. Talanta means talent. Talanta is Kiswahili. So today I would like us to go through a very pertinent issue for youth in terms of skills development. And our headline today is Education 4.0, Youth and Skills to Stay Ahead of the Curve. When we talk of the curve, I believe most of us are very conversant with what we mean because we are now in the post-COVID era and keywords such as curve and models have been part of our daily vocabulary. So the key question is, how can the youth be competitive globally? We realize that there's a global competition for talents and skills. There is the job market, and the youth need to stay ahead of the competition. So talking of the Kenyan youth, what are the key skills you need in order to stay afloat and competitive, in order to be a global citizen who can compete fairly with other graduates from the rest of the world and other innovators? That is the key issue we are going to handle today. So that is Impact Borderless Digital. I also do appreciate the team I'm working with, Job Ogweno and Lilian Mumbwa, who are part of the Impact Borderless Digital Mentorship Series. So, as I speak to the youth and skills development, which is a topic very close to my heart, I would just like to refer you to one of the motivational series, that is Monday Motivation under Impact Borderless Digital. And you can read there that the post-pandemic job market should be exciting to the youth. Why? Because there is borderless competition for talents. But the era of digitalization is also lowering the barriers to entry into what we call the digital economy. So the youth can enjoy this borderless democracy. The youth can be active participants in what we call the gig economy. Whenever we have our Youth Talent and Career Fair, we handle these 6 key topics. And under the background, I encourage the youth to embrace these 4 Ds. The 4 Ds are diligence. You have to be diligent in whatever you do because that is what will give you a competitive edge. Again, the youth need the second D, which is discipline. Without discipline, you cannot achieve much. You need determination. And the 4th D is dignity. Put across your issues with dignity, and you'll have a good chance at being understood and incorporated. I also talk of the 4 Ps, which are purpose. You must have a definite purpose. You must also have principles that you operate with. Principles make life easier. Dr. Miles Monroe himself said that you need principles, but you must also be passionate about what you do. That is the 3rd P. And the 4th P is plan. Have a plan which will help you to achieve your long-term goals. We do say that you should be flexible on your strategy, but fixed on your goal. Again, we go through issues of employment and how you can present yourself to the marketplace competitively through a convincing CV and interview skills. Then we handle issues of career development and scholarship because the youth also need international exposure, and education is one of the areas that give you a chance to be a global citizen. Through scholarship, You can travel the world and you can experience other cultures, and you'll be made and modeled to be relevant in terms of the issues shaping global development agenda. So let's go to globalization and transferable skills. I've talked about globalization during my introduction, but I want to talk about transferable skills. Now, as youth, maybe you have been wondering, how do people achieve great results? What is the reason? And are you managing your resource? And are you neglecting the source? There's a source you are connected to. You have talents, raw talents. Are you refining those raw talents so that they can be skills that can be competitive in the marketplace and you can get paid for solving a problem through your skills? Are you just sitting on your raw talents without refining them? Again, this takes us back to the 4 Ds. You need diligence, discipline, determination, and dignity. So, in the post-COVID era, these key areas will become more critical to the youth. To be a global citizen, to have a fair chance at being competitive globally, the youth needs, at the basic minimum, digital literacy. But move beyond that to what I call digital fluency. It is not enough just to be literate. You need to be fluent. You need to be ahead of the competition. The youth also need data literacy. You need to understand data and perfect through practice to data fluency. You need to go beyond just local awareness to global awareness. You also need to refine your raw talents through mentorship, and you'll have refined talents which can set you apart in the global technology marketplace. I like this saying that you can aspire to stand out, but better still, you should be outstanding. Then, formal education is not enough. We have lifelong skills development. It is no longer just a matter of finishing a certificate course or a degree course and saying you are through. You have to aspire to be an active participant in lifelong skills development. So that is why the core values under Impact Borderless Digital are diligence, excellence, and intergenerational responsibility. We'll see more of that. And when we are talking of the curve, staying ahead of the curve, that picture is just showing you how beautiful our landscape can be if we manage it well. So as we are talking of going beyond local awareness to global awareness, what can you see? For example, that is a photo taken in Hong Kong. You can see how green it is. It is 7 a.m. in the morning, but you can see the roads are clear. This was way back in 2019, June 2019, before COVID. And the youth as the leaders who must transform our society, can they have global awareness and environmental responsibility as we see displayed on that photo. Now, we are talking of the curve, and there's good news that countries are now reporting flattening of the COVID curve. That is just giving you an idea how can you enhance your data literacy and global awareness. For example, what I'm displaying there, two data sources from COVID-19 tracker from Bing, that is to the left, and we have to the right Worldometer. These are reports on the numbers, global numbers, on September 24th, and you can see there's a slight difference. So even as youth, if you are given an assignment in the office, for example, go the extra mile, exercise diligence. For example, if you are to report these cases, you'll agree with me that the numbers to the right are more current than the numbers to the left. So you have to look for different sources of information and compare them, because numbers are fluid. They keep changing, like the COVID numbers keep changing. So from the right worldometer, you see we have more current numbers. But again, you also need to know some key indicators. For example, now the global case fatality rate is 3%, and recovery rate is encouraging, about 74%. And what of Africa? If you are in Africa, there has been debate all around that. Why is it that in Africa, COVID-19 has not dealt as much a blow as the rest of the world? And you can see the data bringing out that one very clearly, with our case fatality rate standing at 2.4% as at September 24th, and an impressive recovery rate of more than 80%. In Kenya, even a lower case fatality rate of 1.8%, though a slightly lower recovery rate of about 65%. And these are some of the things you need to be aware of, to be conversant with as youth. Global awareness, data literacy, and data fluency, so that you can engage in an intellectual debate. You can be given space as youth to make an impact in decision making space. Let's see a few examples also. You can see the status comparing 21st of September and 24th of September, Kenya, Ghana, Mauritius, South Africa, and you can see where we are in terms of active cases. And the good example in Ghana, Ghana has reduced its active cases to only 500. Kenya still over 12,000. But when you are talking of data literacy, or a college graduate for that matter, and you can't present data to your employer to visualize the data using the common tools we have, such as Excel. If you are a graduate, and better still, a science graduate, or engineering graduate, or let's talk of STEM, and you can't even apply Excel to visualize data like this. For example, here what I'm showing, just using Excel, how you can now communicate to your governor or policymakers about the reduction in infection rates in Kenya. You can see way back in June how the curve was very high, double-digit percentages, but now come the beginning of September, we were in single-digit percentages, and now we are even reporting 4%, sometimes 3%. And you can see the different scenarios that you can generate just in Excel to inform policy discussions, and even show how the cases are spreading from Nairobi and Mombasa to the rest of Kenya. So, as youth, we depend on you in terms of creating insights from data, and this is something you can do very easily. Now, let's go deeper into the topic of the day, youth and skills to stay ahead of the curve. What I'm displaying there is the result of a 2-year study that was conducted across the world, and giving more emphasis to countries in East Africa. Look at the degree of emphasis in terms of training that we place on literacy and numeracy. It is on the up y-axis. Again, look at the x-axis. You can see we have big balls, but they are ranking low on the y-axis. Why? Because our formal education system is not placing much emphasis on those key result areas, yet they are the bigger balls that we need to create a more innovative generation. Skills such as scientific inquiry, skills such as system thinking, and a deliberate approach to talent management from the basic school level. You see, they are the bigger balls. They are more to the right because they are impacting more on innovation capacity. But on the y-axis, the training emphasis is not high on them. So this is already a challenge that you can present to policymakers in order to ensure that we lay more emphasis on the critical skills that will make Kenya or Africa more innovative. Again, you can see that youth nowadays are saying they need more of skills for self-employment. They also lay much emphasis on the reputation of the colleges they are going to join and the technology and innovation opportunities that the colleges do offer. And that is important indeed. Again, mentors are key to modeling youth. Look at career development and look at the percentage that this survey gave to recommendation by mentors. So mentors are key influencers, and we need more of them. For example, what we are doing at under the Kenya Presidential Digital Talent Program. So let's look at the future of work. This is a key phrase that I believe the youth are familiar with. The future of work. We are talking about the future of work, but that future, I believe, has just started. And how are you preparing yourself for the future of work? Some key statistics. It has been confirmed through actual surveys and interviews that 65% of the learners in primary school today will be engaged in jobs that are not yet defined. So there will be new engagement, there will be new jobs, new careers emerging in the post-COVID era. How are you preparing to take up those opportunities? That means you must have transferable skills. That is emphasizing more what we have been talking about, digital literacy, and move beyond that to digital fluency, data literacy to data fluency, from local awareness to global awareness, and from just raw talents to refined skills that will help you to stay afloat. So look at that graph. Again, this graph is showing the influence potential of various qualities. But the disappointing fact is that you go through primary school, and then secondary school, and tertiary level, then you enter the marketplace and realize that the marketplace needs more of those skills that are highlighted in orange and red, but these are the skills we never acquired at school. School was placing more emphasis on routine skills, reading and writing, passing exams, but hardly on leadership, on fundraising skills, on people skills, on digital literacy. So it is also a burden to the youth nowadays to ensure that you go beyond the ordinary and you ensure that you acquire skills such as leadership, such as fundraising skills, such as systems thinking, such as ability to communicate effectively, and financial literacy. Those are going to be more and more important as we enter the post-COVID era. So we can summarize: we need digital fluency, we need lifelong learning attitude, need to be conversant with skills in coding, automation, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, and even big data, because most of the decisions that we'll be seeing coming up will be leveraged by big data and the ability to use artificial intelligence and machine learning to extract information from big data and turn that information into insight for decision support. So you will need these skills irrespective of your disciplinary orientation. So it is a challenge to the youth to ensure that you embrace those skills. And as we said at the beginning, that digitalization is already lowering the barrier to entry into the digital space, the digital transformation, and talents and skills development for digital fluency. The youth agenda. If you are asked today, why lay more emphasis on youth? Why are we talking of the youth? Most of the time when we talk of development goals, when we talk of addressing problems of unemployment, and this has to do with our demography. We are going to see some key statistics that confirm that. And when we are talking of Africa, for example, key issues in Africa, such as the agricultural sector, transforming the agricultural sector, a secure Africa, driving Africa's growth, the youth are at the center of all this. And what have the youth? And opportunities for career growth and sense of purpose and social impact. So it is also a challenge to employers that whenever they hire youth, it is not just about compensation. It is also about having them feel a sense of impact at workplace. And social impact is key. Again, gig economy, COVID has challenged us. We have now seen that remote working is possible. Do you have opportunities for youth at your workplace so that they can be active participants in the gig economy, so that they can work using on the digital platforms, not necessarily within the four walls of the office? The brick and mortar has been disrupted by COVID. So look at key statistics on Africa, for example. The median age, it has been said, is only 19. That is according to 2018. The data on as current as 2018, 19.4, the median age in Africa. In Kenya, again, it is just that number. Compared to the USA, 38, 47 in Japan, 47 in Germany. What do you see? It means for Africa to progress, our development focus, the focus of our debate must give youth agenda a key portion, a key area of emphasis must be on the youth, because that is the dominant demographic. But we also need to understand the youth, because people are shaped by the context in which they grow up. Which context have shaped different generations. So, as we engage the youth again, we need to understand the generation we are dealing with. For example, the generation Y, the millennials, very different from Generation Z and Generation X because of the different context in which they have grown up. The baby boomers, for example, grew up in the post-war era, and the millennials have been brought up in the era of globalization, economic stability, and now we have been seeing the emergence of Generation Z, era of mobility and multiple realities, digital natives, and they value the freedom of expression. They would like to express themselves. And the Generation Z, also according to this survey by McKinsey and Company, is a generation that will take up very effectively what we call sharing economy, platform services. They are not only for ownership, but for service. A good example is Uber. You don't need to own the car to have the transportation service. You can still pay for the service. and not necessarily buy the car. And these are key issues when we are dealing with the new generation we call Generation Z, the group born from 1995 onwards up to the year 2010. And even after Generation Z, we also have a new generation we call Generation Alpha. And these are things that shape our common dialogue, and they are key to the kind of decisions and opportunities we give the youth so that they can be active participants in national development and in transforming our economy. That picture is just a summary of the different generations coming all the way from the year 1925 up to the generation born from 2013 to 20, and even going all the way to 2025, that will be the Generation Alpha. And on the background, if you are from Kenya, Nairobi in particular, those are buildings you are very much familiar with. So as we go towards the end, we talked of global awareness. We have talked of the gig economy, giving the youth alternative work engagements, leveraged by digital platforms. 50% of the world population already living in middle-class households. So the competition is going to be tighter. Education and skills development is key. And the cost of living can only go up. A challenge to the youth as they sharpen their skills. Again, in terms of the global workforce, why are we talking so much about gender parity? 39% of the global workforce made up by women, only 39%. So I know sometimes we say it is too much to talk of affirmative action for women, but the data showing very clearly that we still have a long way to go to achieve gender parity in the global workforce, for example. So countries like Kenya, Rwanda, the policies that are focused on affirmative action for gender parity, to encourage gender parity, should be encouraged. And these kinds of data are key to supporting policy discussions from an informed perspective. As youth, your CV is the first impression you can create before any employer. So your CV must also be current. We treated this topic under the first Talanta Talk that was held on 30th of January this year, 2020, and we'll follow up with more tips on how you can make your CV current and appealing, but you must lay emphasis on the format you are giving your CV. What are some of the progressive fonts you should use on your CV? Are you still using the Times New Roman, which is tired, old, antiquated? Have you ever tried to use Garamond and Cobel? Those are some of the topics we handle. What of your profile? A good number of times you find career objective on most CVs. Why don't you replace that one with a convincing profile? Because the profile summary will give us an impression of what you can do and what you are passionate about. Remember, one of the 4 P's is passion. So instead of telling me about your career objective, why don't you give me a few lines on your profile, your personal and technical competencies? And don't forget volunteer experience. You have to volunteer. It has been said that volunteers are not paid because they are priceless, not because they are useless. That is a good saying I heard from Harry Moilengo, who is also a youth mentor. And volunteer experience will take you far because it will give you an opportunity to be engaged. It will expand your space for networking and give you a higher probability of being engaged meaningfully. Referees. Again, you need referees for your CV, and a good number is 3. playing different roles: an academic referee, a professional referee, and a social referee. These are some of the tips that will handle more comprehensively in subsequent Talanta talks. And when you are facing the interview panel, after your CV has opened the door so that you can face the panel, we also go through the key points that you must put across, and we summarize them using 7 C's. These 7 C's are the adjectives that your presentation should identify with. You should be confident, you should be creative, you should present a compact summary of your skill sets, you should be constructive in your engagement, you should be concise, and your argument should also be compelling. Why should you be hired? And you should also be convincing to the panel. And then we handle the 22 questions that you will almost always have to face, all of them or a subset of them, so you need to be prepared in advance. For example, the first question of tell us about yourself. Most of us waste time on when they were born, their surnames or family names, yet it is a good opportunity to show the panel how your skill sets match the job description and why you should be hired. We are not going to go deep into this part today, but just as a teaser to excite you that you need to listen to the subsequent Talanta talks. You need to tune in at Talanta Digital, Talanta TV, hashtag Talanta Talks, so that you can upgrade your skills, you can be hired, you can advance in your communication skills and people skills. Now, as we conclude, why have we been talking about Education 4.0? Because the post-pandemic era is just starting when the world is talking about the 4th industrial revolution. And this is an era defined by connectivity between devices with the internet as a key aggregator. So the Internet of Things, connected devices, artificial intelligence, and so we are talking about the 4th stage of the Industrial Revolution, or Industry 4.0. And this has also disrupted the education sector. We are talking of Education 4.0. We are seeing the uptake of online learning against the former resistance that we used to witness to the same. So that is how disruption can change attitudes and compliance. So we talk of contextual intelligence, and we encourage teachers to go beyond just emphasizing logical mathematical intelligence to musical intelligence, bodily kinesthetic intelligence, spatial intelligence, interpersonal intelligence. These are the various types of intelligence that are not well treated or handled or managed in our formal education system, but we need to address them from the basic level. And these various categories of intelligence have been well handled under the theory of multiple intelligences by Howard Gardner. We need to identify talents early. And if we are going to transform our country through a youth-centric focus, then we must lay more emphasis on talent management right from primary school. And let's hope that the newly proposed curriculum will handle that effectively. Again, as youth, when you are talking of innovation, don't limit yourself to product innovation. We have many types of innovation, and here we are displaying 9 of them. We have organizational innovation, process innovation, business model innovation. Can you innovate? with the digital economy? Can you innovate in such a way that you can disrupt the normal distribution chain so that producers can get more for their effort by bypassing many of the mid-level or intermediaries that interfere with the flow of earnings to the producers? And the youth can use ICT and their creativity, collective genius to come up with disruptive innovations and a business model innovation. So don't just look at coming up with a completely new product. You can innovate to make a process faster, more efficient, and also make it harder for corrupt deals to go through, what we have seen with ICT. ICT eliminating human agents in many processes so that you can achieve some objective decisions in procurement and the like. I challenge the youth to consider those types of innovation under the broad topic of Education 4.0 and lifelong skills development. So if you want to read more about these stages of the Industrial Revolution, the internet, you can just browse. You will see the first Industrial Revolution all the way to the second, third, and now the fourth Industrial Revolution, and the new frontiers that you should explore as youth under the fourth Industrial Revolution, the future of work, smart cities, smart agriculture, organizational transformation frameworks, using information as key capital to transform your business. These are key, and you cannot do it alone. You need to partner with others so that you can enhance synergies and harness collective genius. As we now conclude under global awareness, never as youth in this era should you be lacking in the knowledge of the Sustainable Development Goals. It could make a difference between you being hired and not being hired. During interviews, you must know the Sustainable Development Goals. Some people are still talking about Millennium Development Goals up to now, not knowing that from the year 2015, we have had Sustainable Development Goals, 17 in number, that are shaping global discourse on development agenda. So you need to be aware of them, and you can see from this diagram, education and health are at the very foundation. So that is why we are laying much emphasis on education and skills development, productivity tools that you have readily available in your smartphone and can enhance your competitiveness as youth. You can challenge yourself. I'll be reading out some of these productivity tools which anyone with a smartphone has, and you as youth, challenge yourself, ask yourself, have you been making use of such tools? We have dictionary.com. We even have a calendar. Are you using it to plan your day? We have Grammarly, Evernote, Translator, and you have platforms that even became more liberalized during COVID so that you can learn at home at your own pace, like Khan Academy, Coursera, Udemy, and some of us are still looking for calculators, the conventional calculators. Yet from your phone you also have this free application, HandyCalc, that is a very good scientific calculator that you can use. You can see the testimony to the fact that digitalization is already lowering the barriers to entry into meaningful engagement in the digital economy. And talking of sustainability, We have a broad agenda which I've summarized into 7 P's. Sustainability is not only about the 3 P's of planet, prosperity, and people. We also need policy and principles, hence global awareness and data. We need to know place, that is location-based technologies to enhance location intelligence such as GIS and GPS technologies. We need partnerships, and we need parameters and models. And if you are doubting the utility of models during this COVID era, you appreciated that every country was talking of a model of scenarios to help calibrate policy and strategic responses. Don't be left out when talking of the various sectors in the economy. You must be able to articulate the contribution of the private sector, the public sector, and the civil society sector to national development. Where do you place yourself as youth, and how do you work across them in order to increase your chances of making an impact? Searching for various career development pathways you have readily available in the internet so that you can select your career growth trajectory even before you join tertiary level of education. And now get involved. You can see that diagram is showing you what this buzzword of today, artificial intelligence, is about. We also need reasoning, knowledge representation, deep learning. Asking yourself, as a youth group, can we make a proposal that can be funded? There are so many challenges facing the world today which are unresolved. For example, 2.3 billion people still lack access to basic sanitation. That is more than 4 billion of the world, 4 billion people in the world still lack access to the internet. And in developing countries, barely 30% of agricultural products undergo industrial processing. So we talked of the various types of innovation. Where do you see yourself as youth to make an impact? How can you come together to address some of these key challenges through innovation in the water sector, agricultural sector, energy sector, and in value addition? Thank you for tuning in, and next time will be Talanta Talk number 3. If you have any comments on what you would like to see included in the next talk, you are free to tweet that. The handle is at Talanta Digital and hashtag Talanta Talks. Will bring more your way through our partnership with Talanta TV, that is Impact Borderless Digital and Talanta TV, and our slogan at Impact Borderless Digital is Impact without imposition. You must be convinced and flow in the stream that is shaping global megatrends, and hence a youth-centric development focus. Thank you. Till next time, tune in.
Talanta Institute is inviting you to register for our enhanced online learning experience in the September intake for short courses, certificate and diploma courses in TV and film production, music production, 3D animation, DJing, and digital marketing. For more details, you can call us on 0734 77 7778 or 0710 813131, or visit our website on www.talanta.global. Talanta Institute, unveiling champions.